Let's talk about the big news around Major League Soccer this week. Designated player rule has been drastically altered. Some teams, if they shuffle their cards right, can have as many as 3 designated players on their team.
Yeah, the big change really coming starting back in MLS Cup last year in Seattle. MLS Board of Governors voted that you can make a change. 2 designated player spots to be specific for each individual team. Now, teams do have the opportunity to bring in a 3rd designated player spot, but they'd have to pay a $250,000 luxury tax. That tax paid to the league itself, then distributed amongst the teams as will be. Now, a little bit of a change. If a player's bought after the World Cup in the summer, the salary cap implications, which used to be $415,000, now $335,000. If they're signed in the summer, only half of that, $167,000 on the cap through the end of the year. But it will be interesting. No longer will we see trades of designated player slots, with the exception, or looking back at the example of Chivas USA and New York, but you can trade designated players themselves, as long as the team in the trade has an open, available slot themselves. But Todd, the question is, how will teams like Real Salt Lake, Columbus Crew, and Kansas City deal with this? Because you just get that feeling that Seattle, New York, and LA will start to look for the big guns.
Or you may say, hey, Real Salt Lake doesn't need to deal with this. After all, they're the MLS Cup champions, and they didn't have a designated player last year.
Yeah, exactly. Landon Donovan, who was a player under the old designated player spot, was kind of grandfather claused in. Now he is a full designated player, as well as David Beckham. We see the success of Juan Pablo Angel. We see the success here in Seattle with Freddie Ljungberg. But there has been some tough times. Danielson, Marcelo Gallardo come to mind. But it will be interesting to see which teams take the chances coming off the backside of the World Cup.
You know, I thought it was interesting looking at Seattle's website this week. It said, the big banner said, Lionel Messi to Seattle, question mark. I can answer that question. The answer is no. But you can expect perhaps maybe Thierry Henry's name to float around for New York later this season.
Yeah, and that would be just an incredible signing. Everyone's been talking about it. A player that's actually showed a lot of interest as well from, reports coming in left and right. But I am interested to see which teams really start to reach out early before the World Cup. Already a player like Blaise Kufo coming over from FC 20, set to sign with Seattle later this summer. We'll see who else is next.